The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame. Turn your memorabilia into a work of art.
This is The Sports Source, presented by Bill Hotz and Associates and by Renewal by Andersen, with your host, John Pennington.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into the Sports Source presented by Renewal by Andersen today. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. Happy Father's Day to my father who's watching, I hope. If he's not, I'll curse him later. Thank you for joining us today. We have a big show. We're going to talk about a little news off the top, but then we'll dig into the top 15 storylines to watch during Tennessee's 2018 football season. I think it'll be a fun show. Let's get right into this thing. First segment of this first show of, well, it's not even the first show of June. So first segment of this third show of June, brought to you by Renewal by Andersen. It is their spectacular July 4th savings event. You can buy windows or patio doors, get this, and get 15% off with installation included now. And even better, no money down, no interest, no payments for 24 months. But you have to schedule the job by July 14th. That is their great, spectacular July 4th savings event. Renewal by Andersen, folks. There's a reason you know that name. They are the best in the world when it comes to doors and windows. RBAKnoxville.com, or you see the phone number right there. Renewal by Andersen. Want to welcome in the panelists for today. And I don't know that folks at home can tell this. I put it out on Twitter. Thanks to the folks at WATE. It may look the same to you, but we're on a totally different side of the studio now. They moved us this huge behemoth set in a week, and it looks really good, and I really appreciate that. I say that, now it's going to collapse on us. But welcome in Bob Hodge, Jimmy Himes, Mike Strange, Chuck Cavaleras. Thanks, guys. Again, we're going to talk about the storylines in a minute, but let's start. Finally, Alabama offensive lineman, backup offensive lineman Brandon Kennedy, been rumored to be coming to Tennessee for a long time. Lots of debate about the grad transfer thing. Finally picks Tennessee. Team will have 2 years here at Tennessee because he graduated early at Alabama. Don't know how good he's going to be, of course, but at the same time, for a team that's needing bodies on the offensive line, to get a body that was once deemed good enough by Nick Saban, you got to take that as a plus, don't you?
Yes. And it's a bigger plus because he's got 2 years. And I think
he may have three, by the way, but go ahead.
You may have three, which is even bigger plus. That's a bigger plus.
Yes. What if he had four?
But that's
Did he even go to Alabama?
I think some of these graduate
Graduated in a
transfers
week.
that Pruitt has brought in, I think it's a little bit of a mistake, even if they help you this year, because I think this year's not going to be that great.
You're
But
trading
somebody,
a 4-year scholarship for a 1-year
for somebody
deal.
that has two or maybe more, I think it's a good deal for him.
Kennedy says that he got a medical red shirt. So he's saying he has 3. That's his claim.
Yeah.
We'll see. But anyway, if he can come in and if he's good enough to start at center or good enough to start at guard, I think that does help your offensive line. I don't know if he's better than Ryan Johnson. If he is, Johnson may move to guard. But I think it would help in that situation. But I think he will help the offensive line. I still don't think this offensive line is going to be very good, but I do think he will help them.
Well, you've still got a lot of questions there, but at least you got one more potential answer.
Right.
You know. Guys, your thoughts on grabbing a guy from Alabama?
Well, there's certainly no shame to not starting as a sophomore at Alabama the way they're stacked. So there's no reason to think that this guy can't be a really good contributor at Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a win for Tennessee, and you get somebody 2 or 3 years. And remember back to the spring game when the former Alabama quarterback made the statement that nobody in uniform for that game could start for Alabama. And it's a win for Tennessee.
Well, it still plays into that because he's got to start for Alabama.
And it's a loss for Auburn because that was the other school that was mentioned. So, I mean, and look at all the starts you lose at center from last year. You're not going to be very good, most likely, at the offensive line.
And I think, and you can't read too much into it, but I think the fact that Auburn was so interested in him, that tells you a little bit of something.
Exactly.
Does this change your thoughts about the Tennessee-Auburn game this fall?
I also think that
That was his answer, I think.
one other hidden plus is the fact that you've got someone that understands what Jeremy Pruitt is trying to teach, not specifically along the offensive line, but in terms of, he's not going to be Nick Saban light. Every coach is different, but clearly I think he's influenced by Nick Saban and to bring someone in from that system to say, no, fellas, this works, listen to him.
Right.
I think that helps too. That's kind of a hidden advantage just in the mental aspect that he brings to the thing with the experience in the Saban tree, if you will, that Pruitt's probably coaching from. All right, the NCAA made some news this week. The bigger one to me is what we'll mention last. So the smaller one, and it's still big, is transfer rule. What they're going to do is if you declare, I do declare, if you're a player and you're a student athlete, you declare that you want to transfer, you go tell the school. You don't have to go beg the coach to clear you or let you go. You tell the school puts you in a database that is nationwide. Other schools can go there. When they see your name, they can contact you, and you can transfer anywhere you want to go. That's the NCAA's new rule. My question, I like the idea of opening it up, but again, I fear free agency. I've not read anything yet. They better have some stipulations in there that once you declare you can't change your mind, or else what's to stop 10 guys who have a bad practice, angry at the coach, well, they all go put their name in the transfer heap to see if they get a good call. So you better have some sort of mechanism in place to prevent mass exodus. But your thoughts on the transfer rule?
The free agent thing you mentioned is a concern that Nick Saban had and other coaches at the SEC spring meetings. The one thing that Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, said during that time when that was discussed was that they were trying to take this out of the hands of the coaches. They didn't want coaches deciding whether you could or couldn't transfer to school. Now, if you're not a grad transfer, you still have to sit a year, okay? So that's still in place. But there was a concern of coaches that you might be opening up just a slew of transfers looking to leave. But I do like the idea they're taking the possibility of transferring to a particular school out of the hands of the coach.
You'll no longer have the Derek Dooley, you have to go 8 hours away because that's what I did kind of stuff.
Right.
I was just going to say, does it create a problem now for a coach who's got a guy? If you do declare and you can't come back after you declare, does the coach face threats from guys who don't think they're getting enough play? Hey, okay, if you're not going to play me anymore, I'm going to just go put my name on the list and I'm done. I mean, does that become something
for every positive, there's some potential negative.
And it's more likely to happen at the top programs that have the most talent.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, and then the last one, I think this is the biggest one, though. Division I football players will now be able to participate in 4 games and still get a red shirt. That is paradigm shifting. That changes the game. It's good for coaches, it's good for programs, it's good for players, in my view. No longer can will a kid be thrown in due to injury at the end of the year and blow a red shirt. Now you got 4 games, and it doesn't matter when in the season you take advantage of those 4 games, and you can still red shirt. I just think that's tremendous. I think that is the best move by the NCAA in years, in my opinion.
And I see a relation there. The more guys you redshirt, the more guys are going to end up being grad transfers.
Well, the good thing about that, too, is, and you touched on this, if you do have a late injury, you can play somebody without worrying about it. Or if you've got a bad season, you can try to develop players.
Yep.
But you keep the players invested. If you know there's a chance you're going to play, you're not going to go through the motions during the whole year of practice.
Good deal. All right. When we come back, we're going to start our countdown to the 15 biggest storylines facing the Tennessee football team in 2018. Come on back. This is going to be good. Oh, and a little later, we'll tell you how you can win UT season tickets to football, basketball, and a million other things. Come on back.